Time now for the exchange. Our guest is a familiar face to this show, Moshe Lavi. His brother-in-law, Omri Miran, was abducted by Hamas during the attacks on October 7th. He is still being held hostage in Gaza today, some 640 days later. Lavi formerly served as a captain for the Israeli Defense Forces. He is now working in consulting in the United States and joining us from Chicago today. And Moshe, you have spent every day since this war began fighting for the release of your brother-in-law, Omri Miran, and for all of the hostages. I just saw a video of your sister, Lishai, speaking directly to President Trump and talking about their two daughters. Roni is almost 4, Alma 3, constantly asking about when their father will come home. You and I spoke just the other day, and you said following some recent meetings you had with administration officials in Washington, you are a bit optimistic that a deal will come out of these negotiations soon. Walk us through why you have that optimism now.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm trying to be as optimistic as I can, because this is the source of energy that gives us the ability to keep advocating. The sense of optimism that we can see Omri home, can see imagining him hugging Lishai, Ronnie, and Alma, being in Ronnie's birthday at the end of this month. It seems like there was some sort of a breakthrough over the past few weeks after the operation in Iran. Hamas is isolated more than ever, and perhaps there are incentives also for Israel to make concessions now. And so we hope that the deal is forthcoming. But at the same time, we emphasize as families, a deal needs to lay out a plan to release the last hostage. The 50th hostage needs to know that they are going to be home. And as of now, the current bridging agreement doesn't really guarantee it. So we'll keep pushing for all policymakers to make the bold decision of signing a deal that brings all 50 hostages.
Moshe, can I just tell you what touches me the most about you? It's not just the fact that you have continued to fight for your brother-in-law for 2 years now, pretty much. It's that you have been consistent. You have been consistent. So whether it's giving interviews to multiple media outlets, whether it's writing op-eds, whether it's standing in front of crowds, no matter what, even when there appears at times to have been no end to this war in sight, you get up, you keep going. Even when ceasefire negotiations appear to dip at the last minute, you get up, you keep going. Even when hostages have been released and your brother-in-law has not been on that list, you still get up and you keep going. It touches me every single time I see your face. Can you just tell us where you get that strength?
Yes, I get that strength from my sister Lishai, who ever since October the 7th, that she survived, and after she was rescued by the IDF, stood up and said, I'm going to fight for Omri, and wasn't shy of asking us, our family, I need you in that fight. And every day that she wakes up, that we have conversations, whether as siblings about silly things, but of course on our plan for the day of what we need to do in order to raise awareness for Omri and all the hostages, that gives me the strength and motivation to keep going. She's a lioness. My nieces are little lioness cubs, and we're going to keep fighting no matter what. We need to keep emphasizing that people like Omri should not be held hostage, that they should deserve to be home, and that we need to hold accountable both the perpetrators of the atrocity of October the 7th or keep holding the hostages, but also hold accountable our policymakers who are not yet saw through the decision to bring home everyone, despite all the difficulties in making that decision.
And some of those policymakers have yet to take accountability for the failures leading up to October 7th, namely Prime Minister Netanyahu. As we always note, the onus here is on Hamas. They are the ones who started this horrific war by invading Israel. They're the ones that can end it by releasing all of the hostages and laying down their arms. But I do wonder, Moshe, if you can speak to what we saw happen for the first time since October 7th, just 4 days ago, and that was Prime Minister Netanyahu visiting the hardest hit kibbutz on October 7th, near Oz, and visiting with that community. It is stunning that a leader of a country had yet to do so. But the fact that he did, coupled with other comments from him following this war with Iran, that the hostages are a top priority, that there is an opportunity for a deal, what does that tell you about a man who has been very politically savvy and a survivor for so many years now, the longest serving prime minister, to finally make such a symbolic move and visit that kibbutz?
It was long overdue. Nir Oz, as you mentioned, was the worst hit kibbutz. One of 4 members of the kibbutz was either murdered or kidnapped or both. And there are still members of the kibbutz who are held in captivity. I think the prime minister and every politician from both coalition and opposition should have visited all the kibbutzim and the towns on the border right after October the 7th to show solidarity then. Doing it now is not really doing anything, rather than just signaling that perhaps this is the time for a deal in the eyes of the prime minister. But at the same time, I respect the fact that it happened finally, and that perhaps we can bring some healing from that visit. But we need more action than symbolic gestures. We need accountability. We need responsibility. That's the essence of leadership. Leaders cannot escape responsibility when they fail, and only take it when they succeed. And October the 7th was most possibly one of the greatest failures of any policymaker in Israel, what led to it and what happened that day. I keep focusing, though, on the fact that we need to release the hostages. That's going to be the message of families in Washington, D.C. this week. There are already some of them there today, going to meet policymakers, going to echo the voices of the hostages who are held in the dungeons of Hamas and cannot be heard. And after this war ends, we will make sure that there's a national inquiry committee that hold accountable everyone who failed, including the prime minister.
Moshe, what do you miss the most about Omri?
What I miss the most is knowing that he's there, because he would spend so much time with Ronnie and Alma as the main caretaker. My sister Lishai would work long hours in Sapir College and return home knowing that Omri is the father, the devoted father to Ronnie and Alma, devoted husband to her. And so I miss knowing that the sense of security of knowing he's there with them. And besides that, of course, all the conversations about sports, about literature over a glass of beer or a cup of coffee. And I can't wait. I just can't wait to see him home. And I keep manifesting it. You know, a week ago, I spoke at a conference in DC, and I tried to engage the audience to imagine what will happen when Omri will return home, when Alma and Ronnie hug him. And I think once we keep manifesting it, it will happen, and policymakers will keep hearing it. And that's our role as families.
Half of Ronnie and Alma's lives have been stolen with their father since the war began. And the fact that they keep asking about him speaks volumes about what kind of mother they have and what kind of uncle they have that keeps talking about that amazing father of theirs, that one day you continue to tell them, we'll be home and wants to be home with them. Moshe Lavi, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your strength.
Thank you.